Welcome, everybody, to the Shower Genius podcast. And I'm here today with Amber Briggle. And she lives in Texas. And she is the CEO of Be Well Enterprises. And she's the founder and owner of Soma Massage Therapy, which has been rated the best spa or best massage therapy for 11 years in a row. That's crazy.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
Congratulations.
ever since we opened our doors back in 2013. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to chat with you. Where do you want to begin?
I just want you to tell us. I know you had a spa before COVID and
hmm
that you went through that time like all of us did, owning a business and not being able to operate, and
Yeah.
how you got through that. But if you want to give us a little background
Yeah.
prior to that, that's fine too.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I do think it'd be good to start at the beginning because COVID certainly derailed a lot of people's businesses, as I know that you can relate to, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners can as well. So again, thank you so much for having me here today. I never planned on being a massage therapist. That was never in on my bingo card. I graduated from high school in a small town in northern Wisconsin. Went to a really great liberal arts school in central Minnesota. Graduated after 4 years with a really fascinating degree in something that I didn't know how to market. I had no idea once I graduated what to do with this really fascinating education I just got. But that was partly because I just still didn't really know what I wanted to be doing with my life in general. I moved around a bit. I got married to my college sweetheart. We eventually landed in Boulder, Colorado, where he was going to grad school. He was getting a PhD in philosophy. And I was so inspired every day that he was just doing good things for the world and for himself. And like he had a clear vision of what he wanted to do with his future. And I was just kind of working in a dead end job, just to pay, like making $9 an hour, like just trying to pay the bills. Um, I knew that I needed something different because I graduated a couple of years prior, still was kind of floundering, but I didn't really know what it was that I wanted to go back to school to do. Like I didn't want to get another 4-year degree because I didn't know what I wanted to focus in. I didn't want a master's because like I'd really have to focus on something. And I was just clueless. I studied my community and kind of got to know the people around me, and learned that one of the very best massage schools in the world at that time, the Boulder College of Massage Therapy, was literally right there in Boulder. And it was a 1-year program. So I thought, why not? I can do anything for a year. So I applied to basically a trade school, right? Applied to this trade school, got accepted, graduated with honors a year later, and I've never looked back. And I think it's important to point out too that I had never received a professional massage in my life prior to signing up for massage school. I just wanted to do something with my life. And I felt like it would be a good fit for me because first of all, it was short. It was a year. Like I said, it was affordable. It was just a year. I've always been really interested in holistic medicine and alternative methods of healing. I'm a very I'm a very affectionate person. I'm always just touching people and holding people's hands and patting their arms. So like physical touch like did not freak me out. And so it just seemed like something I could maybe be good at. Turns out I freaking love massage therapy. It is absolutely what I was born to do. And it just took me a really sort of weird path to get there. So I graduated with honors. I started working both for myself and for a chiropractor. I wanted to build my own business. That was eventually what I knew I wanted to do, but I was really scared of how to pay the bills and how to get clients to come in and how I was going to pay the rent and how I was going to pay the rent for my studio and for my apartment if I didn't have any clients. So I started working at a chiropractic clinic doing massage there for a solid paycheck. I got fired from that job within 2 weeks, not because I had done anything wrong, but because I had a very clear idea of what I was meant to do with massage, and the chiropractor was trying to kind of expand his portfolio, right, and offer another service to his business. So I went home, thought about what it was I was doing, and realized that if I really wanted to have the strongest business and be the most successful I could be as a self-employed person, I really had to put my energy there. Because if I was splitting my energy between two competing forces, building someone else's business or building my own business, they were not compatible and no one was going to win, right? I wasn't building my business and you're going to get fired, right? So I buckled down and I focused strictly on my business. It grew very quickly. Because I was responsible for making sure that it happened. Like I was in charge of my own destiny. So dang it, I was going to make sure I did it right. It grew very fast. Within a couple of years, my husband got a job offer in the Netherlands. So I had to close up shop in Boulder. But the great thing about being a massage therapist is that wherever I go, my hands come too. So we moved abroad for 3 years. I continued to work in the Netherlands. That's where our son was born. And then we moved back to the United States for a job that he got here at a university in the Dallas area. I started working out of a spare bedroom out of my house, building my business one client at a time. I very quickly got very busy, and I had so many clients truly that I had no more time left in my day, in my week, or no more energy in my hands or in my body to see any more people. And a lot of my clients would sign up for like, I want every other Tuesday afternoon with you as soon as I get off of work from now until the end of the year, or I want every Saturday at 10 a.m. or whatever it was. And when you get enough of those clients, your calendar books up. So what happened is, truly I'd be booked for weeks, 8, 10 weeks out, 3 months at a time. Like you could not get in to see me. And things happen, life happens. And if you fall and hurt yourself or, sneeze and throw something out in your neck and you call me and I say, I'm sorry, I'm booked for 3 months, like that is not an answer that you want to hear. So I would start referring people out to other massage therapists in the area who I knew gave quality work. But not every time, but sometimes those clients would end up staying with that other massage therapist. They've established a relationship with them. Maybe they were closer to where they live or work. Maybe their schedule was just easier to get in, obviously, than me. And I realized pretty quickly it was going to make more sense for me to start referring people in-house rather than out of house. So I started a business, which is now called Soma Massage Therapy. I got the LLC and the EIN, and I got, a massage establishment license and all the things. I checked all the boxes, and I just waited for the right person to come my way for me to hire, so that and I did. And her work was very similar to mine, so that on my busiest days, it would be kind of a smooth transition. My clients could see her and vice versa. She got very busy. I hired another person and another and another. And eventually we moved out of my house. We got a brick and mortar about a mile away. It was impossible to find. I do not recommend a hard to find location for anyone who's trying to start a business. It worked for my business because we were by appointment only. We didn't do any walk-ins. And so people were committed to finding us, but I had a lot of confused and upset clients who like I'm driving around and I can't find you. Eventually they found us, and we did okay for about 8 years there. We were looking for another location to expand to, because at that point in time, I now had 4 treatment rooms and a second location, an office, ironically, in a chiropractic clinic. We were looking for a new location because we kept expanding, and I wanted to continue to meet the needs of my clients. That's when COVID hit. And you cannot do massage from 6 feet apart, and you cannot do massage online. We don't deliver. It's no curbside. The only thing that we provide is literally physical touch. That is it. We don't sell any products. It's literally physical touch. So we were 100% shut down. I was terrified. I had no idea what to do. And I'm happy to talk about some of the pivots later, but I know I've been kind of talking for a while, so we can come back to this. But I found a really brilliant way to pivot during the pandemic. When we reopened 2 months later, let's see, March 20th, 2020, we were ordered to close. At that time, I had 13 massage therapists in 2 locations. We reopened May 20th, 2020, and I was down to 4 massage therapists and 1 location, and no clue how to make this work. But I was determined because I had not done anything wrong. I didn't make any bad legal or ethical decisions or economic decisions. It was just a once in a century global pandemic. So I buckled down and one by one rebuilt my staff. I had more clients than I knew what to do with. They felt very safe coming to Soma. It's another thing we can talk about later in the podcast. They felt very safe coming to Soma, despite the fact that we were getting in their bubble and not staying 6 feet apart. They still felt safe coming to see us. 1 year later, so May 20th, 2021, we reopened in a gorgeous studio, which is where we're at now. I have 7 treatment rooms. I opened a second location, again at a chiropractic clinic, same one that we had been at prior to the pandemic. We were able to reopen there. So now I have 2 locations. I have 25 or 26 massage therapists. I have 4 front desk staff who do an incredible job keeping the studio running. We gross over $1 million a year. We have an email list of over 8,000 people, and we're franchising. And I'm really excited to take this really strong business model coast to coast and really transform the industry. This was, again, never part of the plan. I just went to college because that was the next thing you do after you graduate from high school, and just kind of kept falling forward into opportunities. And I'm sure some of your listeners who are entrepreneurs themselves can kind of understand that sort of like when something just kind of feels right in your gut and you just kind of know like massage school is the next thing, expanding my business is the next thing, like making sure we don't close during COVID and finding, creative ways to pivot. That's the next thing. Just continue to kind of open those doors to opportunity. And now I'm really excited, like I said, to be franchising and taking this knowledge that I've gleaned over the last 20 years as a massage therapist, and more importantly, as an entrepreneur, to communities across the country to help people, acquire good paying jobs and have more financial security, and really truly just to heal as many people as I possibly can. So that's kind of my origin story.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I have heard that before, but it's great to hear it again. And I think that, most people listening to this may or may not know that I had a very successful business before COVID, but I lost it all because of what we did. We did high-end corporate incentive travel, and that just wasn't something we could carry for 1 to 2 years before that business came back.
Yeah, sure.
So, but I'm super excited that the path was different for you, and that you still had to go through that hard time, and it was very nerve-wracking, and all of those things.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to see what you've done with it and how you've built it through that hard time. One thing I would like to ask you is, during that time, what did you do for yourself to take care of you?
Yeah, that's a real good question. Not much. I'll be honest, not much. My kids, I have 2 kids, their school was closed. My business was closed. I hadn't gotten any PPP money yet. Grants were impossible to find. The line for unemployment payments was, hours long just to get established over the phone. And it was not much. What I did for myself, it was more for my clients, but it was also for me. One of the pivots we made during the pandemic is I created a virtual massage studio, which sounds completely weird. Like, how do you do massage virtually? But I found a need with my clients for some self-care. They weren't quite sure what that looked like, but what would happen is our governor in Texas would close businesses for 2 weeks. And so I wouldn't send out a mass email or a mass text. I would get on the phone and I would call my clients, because it is my job to care for people. That is literally what I do. So I would call them and I'd say, I'm so sorry, we're closed for at least another 2 weeks. Let's get you rescheduled. If we have to reschedule again, I'll repeat this phone call, but at least we're staying in contact with each other. I'd help them rebook their appointment. We would check in. And before I'd hang up, I'd say, how you doing? Like, it's hard out there, right? You okay? A lot of people found that pivot and were just able to keep working from home, and good for them. But some people were like, yeah, this sucks. Like, I need bottled water and I can't get to the store and Instacart is booked and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I got you. So I'd get some bottled water and I'd drop it off at their house, right? Some people would say, a lot of people say, I overdid it with my yoga and I threw something out in my back and I don't know what to do. And so I would walk them through self massage or some stretching that they could do at home, until we could get open again and they could be seen by a professional. And from that, a lot of those conversations on self care, I eventually created a virtual massage studio. Now, it was also credit where credit's due. My friends Kachina Goslin and Randy Skinner, I definitely want to give them a shout out. They encouraged me to do this, but I definitely saw a need from my clients. And so what I would do for them, but also for myself, is I would put on pants and brush my hair and put on some makeup and record a video. And I created this studio, this virtual massage studio of these online resources of things like, hey, are your sinuses killing you, but you can't touch your face? Here's some DIY reflexology, right? And I'd walk them through, showing them on their feet where they could massage to relieve sinus pressure. Are you clenching your jaw? Here's how to unclench your jaw and stretch your neck at the same time to make sure that you're breathing properly in your belly. Here are some things I picked up on Amazon or bought online through Massage Warehouse, whatever it is, for self-massage. And I'd bust out my Theracane or my cupping set or whatever it was, right? And I'd create all these videos that I'd then post online. And so then my clients are sitting at home and they're scrolling, or my future clients are sitting at home and they're doom scrolling and looking for a cure and looking for some good word on all this. And then there's my face wearing pants and makeup. I got dressed and I ate and I drank and I did something for myself, teaching them how they can care for themselves. And through that, it really educated a lot of people on the benefits of massage, and that massage is not just a fluff and buff, but it's actually healthcare. And it got them thinking about massage there, about soma as being, top of mind and being a safe place to be. But I admit, during COVID, I did not do much for myself because I was focused so hard on making sure that my business did not fail and making sure that my kids were getting educated. Huge shout out to my husband for doing a lot of the heavy lifting with, taking care of the kids in the house. But I didn't do a lot for myself. And actually, it was several years, like those bad habits just kind of settled in for me. I put on a lot of weight over the last 4 or 5 years. Wasn't sleeping well, was constantly giving to others all day long. And then 8 o'clock would roll around and I'd be like, screw it, I'm done. And I'd have a glass of wine. And then I'd have a second glass of wine and I'd have a lot of cheese. And that was how I would self-soothe, through wine and junk food. And I put on a lot of weight. And I realized at the beginning of this year that those bad, I'm 47. I cannot continue those bad habits or I'm absolutely going to have a stroke or drop dead of a heart attack. And I realized at the beginning of this year, I'm like, girl, like you got to get control over this. No one's looking out for you, but you. And so at the beginning of the year, I started this new nutritional program. I dropped all the weight. And more importantly, through this program that I started for myself, I'm thinking of myself like 6 times a day. I have this timer that goes off and it reminds me to like get up and make a snack and walk a block, walk around the block or hydrate. And it's really over the last 3 months that I've been doing this program has really, really reestablished the self-care that I need not only to keep myself healthy, but to be modeling for others. Because like I said, like it's literally my job to care for other people. And if I'm not caring for myself, it's just lip service, So there was kind of this revolution that happened with me at the beginning of the year. And I'm just like, I need to get back to myself. And I'm really, really, I feel so much better where I'm at today. But it was 4 or 5 years of just putting everyone else's needs before my own. And I'm not saying like I'm number one on my priority list, but I've definitely moved up. And I think that's good progress. Yeah.
Well, I think we all need to be number one on our list.
Yeah.
If we're going to continue to serve others, because, like you said, we can't help others if we don't help ourselves first.
That's right. That's right. And our tagline at Soma Massage Therapy is self-care is how you get your power back. So if you, strong body, strong mind, like, if you're waking up exhausted and bloated and, stressed out every day, you're just starting that much further behind the start line, and it's going to be so much harder for you to catch up. So
Mhm.
yeah, self-care is so important. And I'm so glad I finally learned that lesson this year. Yeah.
It is, and I learned it very hard when I was probably around your age. I was 48 when I learned that um, I had surgery and I was in bed for 2 months, and I was worried that my business was going to fall apart, first of all. And
Mm-hmm.
I was also there with my own thoughts for way too many hours, regretting so many things I had done in my life that I wish I had done differently. And
Yeah.
the biggest aha for me through that was I have been working my butt off for decades,
Mm-hmm.
and I pushed myself to the brink and work 18 hours a day, and I think that's normal. And I was neglecting my family and friends. I never was available to, you know, do things that people would invite me to. I was too busy.
Yeah.
I was too busy
Yep.
to go see my
Yep.
parents.
It's hard to be spontaneous because you have your life planned out by the semester, right? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was just in that mode of, well, I worked in hotels for 15 years, and then I owned a DMC, which is a destination management company. We do events.
Mhm.
And so I just was always pushing myself. And
Yeah.
so during that time, I really was like, how can I change this? And it did give me the time to think about it and
Mm-hmm.
think about how can I delegate more? How
Mm-hmm.
can I focus more on my strengths? And I was really concerned about it, changing my business in a negative way. And what happened was the next year we doubled our revenue. So
Hmm.
it was a huge aha for me, which is why I wrote the book that led to this podcast.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's an amazing revelation, right? And it's like if you're not taking care of yourself, it is so hard to sustainably take care of your business and take care of others. And I,
Absolutely.
I feel that. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I have a really solid team so that if I do need to phone it in for a couple of months, they can mostly keep the ship steady. But it's stronger. My business is stronger. My community is stronger. My colleagues are stronger. My family's stronger if I'm stronger. And I can't be strong if I'm self-medicating with wine and cheese on a daily basis. Like I need to hit the gym and like drink some water and eat a meal and care for myself. Now I do get regular massages because wouldn't you? If you had a massage, like I do get regular massages, but there needs to be more than that. It needs to be a really holistic approach. Absolutely. So I'm really glad that you had that revelation, and I hope that your listeners have that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think it it's so pertinent to take care of ourselves
Yeah.
and health, body, and mind. But I'd like you to talk a little bit about when you when you reopened
Mhm.
and you were winning all these awards that I see. Like how did your practice grow from from the time you opened back up from COVID?
Yeah, that's it is slow and steady. There was a huge rush. Lots of clients wanted to come in. They were really stressed out and they hurt and they'd been clenching their jaws and sitting on their butts for 2 months. We've got a lot of clients too who really like. Everyone needs a massage, but clients who come to see us on a regular basis to manage their low back pain, their chronic pain, their fibromyalgia, their high blood pressure, their frozen shoulder, like whatever it is, like we do a lot. Our focus at Soma Massage Therapy is therapeutic. We can certainly provide a nice relaxation Swedish massage if that's what people need, but our bread and butter really is more like deep tissue rehabilitative, like medical style of massage. And so a lot of our clients kind of come in that meet that demographic. And when your massage studio is closed for 2 months and you're used to seeing your therapist every 2 weeks, maybe to manage some chronic pain symptom, you're in a lot of pain when we reopen. The challenge for me was finding massage therapists who were able to work. Um, uh, 85% of massage therapists are women, and in case your listeners are unaware, like women's careers were really negatively impacted more so than men's careers during the pandemic. When you think about, right, like childcare facilities were closed, schools were closed, there were no play dates, there were no sleepovers, there was no, after school activities. And so the kids were home, right? And when women who make less than men, when you have to make the choice about who's going to stay home with the kids, it's probably going to be the person who has the job that pays less and doesn't offer healthcare benefits, right? So a lot of women had to stay home, and a lot of massage therapists are women. So I did have 4 therapists who stayed with me. One by one, they continued to quit because the demands of being a mom and being a working professional were not compatible. And so I actually only have one massage therapist who's still with me from the before times, and everyone else is new. Let me get back to your question. Tell me again, how did I build my business? Let me get back on track before I get too far off.
I was just thinking, because you were talking about how much you had grown prior to the pandemic, and then how everything kind of stopped and you were looking for a new location. And then how did it, when it started back up, like how fast did it grow into?
No, I mean, yes, thank you. And it grew quickly. It was very steady. And it was a very quick growth because, like I said, within a year of reopening, we had opened in a facility that was twice its size, right? My challenge was never finding clients. My challenge was finding massage therapists who were able to consistently work and meet the demands of both the pandemic and like showing up to work on time. If you with massage is very one-on-one, obviously, and so if someone's out that day because their kids are sick or there's a conflict or they're not feeling it, whatever it is, you have to cancel their entire day. It's not like if you work in a restaurant or something and like the kitchen slows down and the service gets a little muddled and your server's over here when she should be over here. Like, we have to cancel everyone. And so the challenge for me was never finding clients. It was finding consistent massage therapists. I was able to build a really solid team, and a lot of them are still with me 4 or 5 years later. The clients who we had prior to the pandemic, the majority of them came back because they knew how seriously we were taking this. I made it very clear and evident to people the precautions that we were taking when we did reopen, when it came to turning the rooms over, the sanitation process that we were using. We did require masks. I know that can be controversial in some places, including Texas, but we are healthcare workers, and your doctor and your nurse are not going to see you almost any time without wearing a mask, right? And we're getting all up in your face. So we need to be wearing a mask too, as well as our clients. We devised this really creative method when people were laying face down. So we would take a pillowcase and drop it through the opening of the face cradle so they could remove their masks. So they wouldn't feel claustrophobic when they were laying face down, and they were still kind of breathing into this like cloth sack, right? A lot of clients really appreciated that. And the ones who didn't want to wear a mask, we said, well, we'll just do your massage all face down. That's an option. Some clients refused even that, and I would just show them the door because I'm never going to prioritize profits over people's safety. Full stop. It is my job to care for people. It's not my job to be more concerned about making a profit than caring for the people who are trusting me with their care. Like that's just antithetical to who I am and what our business is about. I also purchased this like really fancy high duty air scrubber that we installed directly into our HVAC. So it would keep the air clear and clean in all the rooms all the time. And I made sure to tell people about this, and it was $1,000. And it's probably more than that now because of inflation. But in 2020, I didn't have $1,000. I was broke. My business was closed, but I knew that I had to open responsibly and do it in the right way. Because if people start getting sick or feel unsafe, then the whole business tanks, right? And it's my job, as I said, to care for people. So to be really transparent with the things that we were doing to keep people safe. And we ended up, because of those posts I was making on social media and word getting out in the community, combined with our virtual massage studio, showing people how they could care for themselves through self-massage or stretching or what have you. We end up getting a lot of new clients who were interested in massage, who were stressed out, who felt comfortable coming in to see us, clients who maybe had a massage membership at a different, corporate massage studio and could see kind of the shortcuts that place was taking because they were some of those places were more concerned about their bottom line than the people walking through their doors. They didn't want to be there anymore, and they would come to see us. And we grew really quickly. Once I could get the workers in place and get my massage therapists established with a schedule that worked for them and worked for their family needs, and their once I could get my my employees established, that's really when I had the bandwidth to bring on more clients. And that's when we decided to move into this space that we're at now, which we fortunately kind of, again, fell forward into accidentally at the perfect time, because unfortunately, a lot of businesses, as you know, had closed during that year. We hadn't gotten the supply chain issues when it came to like steel and lumber and whatnot, and inflation hadn't quite taken off yet. So we were able to get a good space close to downtown, which was exactly where I want to be. It's got a parking lot. It's highly visible. We were able to do the build out and negotiate a really good term on our lease because we kind of fell into this space at just the right time. And that's really when we had twice the space that we had before. So now I could continue to hire massage therapists who were looking for a safe, reliable place to work with a consistent work schedule and a consistent paycheck. And that's really when we started taking off. So we reopened in 2021. And then at the start of 2024, so just a couple of years later, I had signed with a consulting firm called the Franchise Bible Coach. They've been helping me come up with all the things that I need to do to franchise successfully. And now I'm really excited to take this business model coast to coast. Because, I mean, I tell you what, like if you can come back, bigger and badder and stronger than ever after a global pandemic, when your work is literally physical touch, I feel like I've got a lot of wisdom to share with others and help them, grow and achieve their dreams too.
That's amazing. And I think what you talked about, the virtual stuff that you did, is so in line with how everyone is getting information these days.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have the in-person and you have that, it makes sense that, that's a great business model these days.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, and again, massage is primarily, it's face to face, right? Like that's literally what we do. But finding creative ways, no matter what business you're in, to be able to pivot and meet your clients' needs, with the hope that will somehow manifest into something greater in the future. I mean, I think every smart business owner knows that you have to be nimble to meet your clients' needs if you want to stay relevant. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And creative.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that in a minute, but I want to ask you, what is I know you said have franchises coast to coast, but where are you in that process now? And what are you, how can people reach out to you about that if they're interested?
Yeah, thanks. I'm very excited to talk about this. So we're very early in the process. I went through a really intensive, 9 or 10 month boot camp where I took all of the knowledge that I have in my head over 20 years of being a massage therapist and extracted it into an operations manual, because I want people to know that no matter what franchise you purchase, you don't have to have a background in that thing. Like, anyone who opens a Panera or a Chick-fil-A, like they don't need to know how to make a sandwich, like they teach you, right? Mm-hmm. Similar with some massage therapy. I don't want, you don't need to be a massage therapist to do this work, right? And you should be able to duplicate it, whether you're here in Denton, Texas, or you're in Colorado Springs, or you're in Miami Beach, Florida, or wherever it is, you should be able to duplicate it. So I went through this really great boot camp with my coach at the Franchise Bible Coach. They walked me through, we're now a registered trademark. It was something that I hadn't done before. I have all the legal documents that I need. We have really fantastic, franchise information brochures that we give to people if they're interested. I've got an operations manual. I've got a whole checklist of okay, so you purchased the Soma massage therapy franchise. Here's your site selection, guidance checklist. You're opening your studio. What do I need to buy? What kind of sheets? How many paper clips do I need? What kind of laundry detergent do we use? Like things like that. So I went through this really intense boot camp for about 9 or 10 months, kind of started wrapping that process up around the fall. Went through a bumpy personal time and wasn't really able to really promote the franchise as vigorously as I would have wanted to during the holiday seasons, just due to some personal family things going on. But things kind of started resolving around the first of the year, and we've really been hitting it hard since January. We're doing, things like this podcast. I've got virtual discovery day calls that happen on the second Wednesday of each month for people to, hop in and learn more. I'm doing webinars to teach people about how to build a business as well, whether or not they're, interested in purchasing a Soma massage therapy franchise. I have several people who are very interested in becoming franchisees. I have not, now we're recording this in early to mid-April. I have not yet awarded a franchise, but it's a very long process. Girl, I could sell a massage to anybody walking down the street. Your back hurts, you got $100 in your pocket, you got an hour of your time. Yeah, I'll get on that table. But I'm learning through this process that awarding a franchise is a much more, there's a lot more discernment. We're talking about investments that, could cost as much as a house, right? And it's a 5 to 10 minimum year commitment, right? You're investing in your future, right? You're not just fixing your back for an hour. And so I'm learning it's a much bigger process that takes a lot more discernment. I need to make sure that the person who's interested holds a lot of the same values as me. We don't have to agree on everything, but our values need to be in alignment, because I've built this brand as strong as it is because I've led with my values. And if I have someone who's just in it for the money and not in it for the bigger picture, it's not going to be a good fit, right? And there's financing that they've got to get in place, and there's all sorts of things that happen with this. So it's a much longer process. I have not yet awarded a franchise, but I know I can feel the momentum is shifting, and I'm really excited to be talking to all these people who are excited to talk to me about these possibilities. But it takes a second, and we just kind of got started on this. So, but I just know, I feel I'm so excited for the future of Soma and the future of massage as a whole once we get started. And I just know that once that first person comes along, there's going to be 100 to follow, right? It's just that, being in business, it's that first sale. It's give me that first one and I can do the rest. And that's kind of where we're at. We're just waiting for the first right person to everything just to come in alignment, and there'll be no stopping us. I'm really excited.
Great. That is exciting. One time I learned that Chick-fil-A, I don't know a lot about franchising, but I know some. But Chick-fil-A will not let you have a franchise if you own another business.
Huh. I did not know that.
Because I've spent my whole career in hospitality, and I started in restaurants, and I love Chick-fil-A. So I was looking into it when I had my event company. Huh. And they're like, if you own another business, we won't give you a franchise, because they want you to be solely focused on that business.
That's interesting.
That might be something to think about.
Huh, that's interesting. And, I attended the International Franchise Association convention in Las Vegas back in February. And that's very interesting to me, because I met a lot of franchisees who owned franchises in multiple, maybe they were all in food service, or maybe they were all in home health care or whatever, but they would own multiple franchises, maybe with different, that they all kind of worked in similar ways. So it wasn't just the one business that they had multiples, or sometimes they would have franchises that crossed complete borders, and it'd be, service, and it'd be retail, and it'd be wellness, and whatever it was. So I think that's
Yeah.
interesting. Clearly it must be working for Chick-fil-A, but it works for a lot of other people doing it a different way as well.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. It's a world I haven't really spent much time in, but
Mhm.
I think it's, seems like for you and your situation, it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah, I hope that your listeners think the same. And if they are interested in learning more, they can check out our website at mysomamassage.com. So Soma is spelled SOMA. It's short for somatic. So mysomamassage.com. And we do have more information on there on franchising. So if people want to find out more, they can fill out the form, and I'll be happy to reach out to them and answer any questions they have.
And that's on your Soma Massage website that I have, right?
Yeah, mysomamassage.com. And then at the top, there's a button that says, one that says like book an appointment, and one says franchise. And if you click on the franchise, there's a whole bunch of information on future steps. And I want to point out too to your listeners too, like maybe franchising isn't right for them. Maybe they're totally happy doing what it is that they're doing today, which is so good for them. But maybe they know someone who wants to own their own small business someday, and this might be a good fit. We are offering a referral bonus that you can learn more about on our website. But if you want a year of free massages or $1,000 cash, send someone my way. And if they become the Soma franchisee, then a year of free massages is
Awesome.
all yours. Who doesn't want that, right?
That sounds wonderful. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I think you need to open one in Colorado Springs.
I think, who do you know? Who do you know? I don't disagree. I come to Colorado Springs all the time to visit my family, and I would love to pop into a Soma and get a massage there. So
I will have
if you
to
know of anyone, you send them my way.
think about that. Yeah. So I want to ask you again, now that all the pandemic is over and all of the struggles are over for that, and that you're in a better place with your business and what you're doing moving forward, now what do you do to take care of yourself on a daily basis?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like I've got it a little more under control now. As I said at the beginning of the year, I started this new wellness program that really, I needed something because I'm kind of type A, in case you haven't noticed. I needed like a checklist. I needed like, your alarm is going to go off every 2.5 to 3 hours, and you're going to have a snack. You're going to have something to drink. You're going to, you're going to do something for yourself. And so I do. I wake up in the morning and I put down, I'm eating a thing, and then I set my alarm, and then it goes off 2.5 hours later. And I'm like, I get up from whatever I'm doing. I stop writing that email. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back to this because this can wait. And I get up and I make myself a cup of tea, and I make myself something to eat. And while it's heating up in the microwave, I'm loading the dishwasher so my house is staying clean, and I'm actually brushing my teeth and putting makeup on, right? And I eat something and I mark it down and I set my timer again, and I rinse and repeat all day long. And by doing that over and over and being a part of something really intentional, I've learned how good it feels to take care of myself. I'm sleeping really great at night. It feels like the whole world is on fire right now, and I've got so little control about anything beyond these four walls of my house. But I sleep really good because I've been taking care of myself all day. I don't have as much time to get to the gym as I'd like to. That's my next goal for myself. But the fact that I've established over 3 months this like radical act of self-care and self-love, and really feel so good in my body. I've got so much more energy. I'm sleeping better. I've lost all this weight. I'm just healthier than I've ever been. That's really kind of inspired and motivated me to think about what can I do next to really amplify this, right? And so for me now, it's going to be like, okay, now you've established these healthy nutritional habits, right? You are what you eat. And if you're eating crap all day and drinking a half bottle of wine at the end of the day, like you're probably not in good shape, right? So I've reestablished really solid nutritional habits for myself. And now I'm inspired to like, I am going to, even if it's just a half an hour, just go for a freaking walk. Like go, you don't have to spend an hour at the gym. Do 20 minutes on the treadmill before I get my kid from school, right? So that's going to be kind of the next thing. So that is what I'm doing for myself now. It took me a long time to sort of get to that space of realization of like, I am killing myself slowly through bad habits. I got to that point where I was just like, no more. Like, no one's taking care of me except for me. And I really had to put that, I really had to put that on myself and sit with that and realize I needed to care for myself. And as you said, your business got bigger and stronger once you started caring for yourself, right? What happened to me towards the end of 2024? Big personal crisis that I just do not want to talk about, and I want to have it behind me forever, right? And 2025 came around and I'm like, girl, you've got to change this. Like, this is not sustainable. And I started taking care of myself. And what are we doing now? Like, I'm going to franchise so hard. We're going to have a Soma massage therapy coast to coast. We're going to be healing thousands of people every day. And like, as I said earlier, I feel like that momentum has shifted in the last couple of months. I've been taking care of myself, which means I can take care of the things in front of me, the things that I care about, because it all starts like don't secure someone else's oxygen mask until you secured yours first, right? That is what I've done for myself. And I've really seen the benefits of it in my business ever since.
That's awesome. I love the oxygen mask analogy, and I think it is so good. It seems trite sometimes, but I think
It's
it's
true. Yeah. You can't help others until you help
explain.
yourself first. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to ask you, how creative do you feel in the shower?
Oh, I've got really good thoughts in the shower. But when I feel most creative is when I'm taking a walk. It's so meditative. I don't know. I mean, I hope you get out and walk in Colorado Springs because it's gorgeous most of the year.
Yeah.
We have like 6 nice days a year here in Texas. But when we have a nice day, I do try and get out. Oh, girl, it clears my
Mhm.
mind. I have some of the best thoughts I have when I'm just on a good long walk. Showers too. Showers too. How about you? Where do you get your creative ideas from?
Well, definitely in the shower, but
Yeah.
I think also just any time that you're quiet, whether it's a walk or sitting in the sun, or those times when you really clear your mind and have quietness and stillness, I think is the most thoughts I have. But a lot of this, what I wrote in the book and this podcast, is all came from shower thoughts. And
Huh.
they say that verywellmind.com says that they did a survey in 8 countries,
Mhm.
and 72% of people said they had the most creative thoughts in the shower.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, right? Because you're standing there,
Mhm.
you're awake, and you've got no one to talk to. The radio's not going, you're not in front of a device, right? Which I have to say, like, is a lot kind of how I came up with this crazy midlife crisis idea of franchising, because as a massage therapist, you're awake all day long with no one to talk to.
Mm.
Right? I mean, some of my clients really like to talk because there's that connection between body and mind. And if they want to release what's going on in their body, they've got to clear their mind too. And sometimes it just kind of comes out as word vomit. And we need to hold space for that. But a lot of my clients are just like, stop. I need nothing right now.
Yeah.
And so you're awake all day long with no one to talk to, again, in a very sort of meditative space where you have this, like in the shower, lather, rinse, repeat. It's like there's no kind of, you kind of get into a sort of, I don't want to say autopilot. For myself as a massage therapist, I just use my intuition. There is thought that goes into the treatment protocol, but it is a lot of intuition. It's not a lot of thinking. You just kind of follow it. And when you can find those quiet meditative spaces as a massage therapist, walking your dog, taking a shower, vacuuming, I don't know, like something where it's like there's no distractions and you're just in it. That's when your mind just kind of unlocks and all that creative energy comes out. Yeah. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think
Yeah.
that's the point, is we have to give our brain the space,
Mm.
because
Hmm.
when you're working 18 hours a day, you're
Hmm.
not giving your brain any space to
Right.
be creative.
Right.
You're being less productive, actually.
Right. Yeah.
So, and the science behind the shower is the hot water on your neck gets more blood flow to your brain, which is
Oh,
also
oh,
part of it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and during the pandemic, I was taking a shower, I had soap in my hair, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do now because I was losing my business. And
Mm.
um, I started having all these thoughts when I took a shower, and I'd get back to my desk and I couldn't remember. And so I put a whiteboard in my bathroom,
Oh, smart.
and that's how all this started.
Yeah.
But now I
Love
have
it.
what they call aqua notes. It's this little paper pad you put in your shower and a pencil. And even if it's wet, it still writes, and then you can tear it off and bring it with you. It's amazing.
Smart.
And so now I use those. But I think also the last chapter of the Shower Genius book is called Rinse and Repeat. And you've said that twice today. So just had to point that
I
out.
love those serendipities. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
amazing.
it's so great to have this conversation with you today, Amber.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to be thinking about ways I can kind of unlock that creative genius. Whether it's a long shower or a long walk, I'm just going to be thinking about other ways I can kind of find those quiet meditative spaces moving forward. So thank you
Good.
for this conversation. Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks to the listeners for bearing with my voice today. So,
You did great.
well, it was a pleasure, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
I'd love that. Thanks again.